What's up, world? What's up, world? This is Jay, Laugh House Production. I'm here. I'm here in the office. I like to call this the office. This the Laugh House Mobile. And I wanted to go over a few things. A few of these so-called government conspiracy theory. Now, the government started this whole conspiracy thing. So, what I'm trying to understand is what's real and what's not real, what's true and what's false. So, explore with me. Come view this video, what I'm about to post, because it's crazy how this guy gets restricted. Sometimes he gets restricted, but he fights back because he hates the fact that he hates how the government tries to control everything. So he questioned what happened to freedom. What happened with freedom of speech? So he questioned a lot, and I'm proud of him. The gentleman I am talking about here, you guys see yourself. Come view this video with me. This is Jay, Laugh House Production. Make sure you subscribe, share, comment, whatever. Don't matter. But most importantly, make sure you guys subscribe. Become a family, become a member. Let's start building together. Let's watch this video.
There's nothing to the story. The world the elites want to create is exactly how Project Bluebeam describes. And it's already happening. They're already merging economies, cultures, and governments. That's globalism. The Council on Foreign Relations, Bilderberg Group, Trilateral Commission, WEF, Davos. These are globalists, and they're not looking out for us.
Illuminati Volume 1 link down in the click hole.
Globalism, if done right, could help poor countries benefit from wealthier ones. There could be better cooperation, easier trade, cultural exchange, fewer wars. Sounds good. But their vision is more like Serge Monast's prediction. Centrally planned government, a single currency, controlled wages and prices, assigned jobs, no private property, and depopulation. They downplay their more extreme plans. Deception. And the rules they want to impose on us to implement their vision, well, those rules don't apply to them. They want us to drive electric cars and take public transportation. They fly on private jets and are driven around by a fleet of Range Rovers. They want to install devices in our homes to limit the energy we use for heating and cooling, but keep their 5 houses at perfect temperature year-round. They want us to eat a plant-based diet.
And bugs.
And bugs, they really do.
How can we grow nutritious and sustainable food that supports healthy and productive lives with far fewer resources available? Insects are among the most abundant and nutritious animals on the planet.
But when these people get together, they go through a lot of steak and lobster. Greenpeace says that Davos is a distasteful masterclass in hypocrisy. And people often call out this hypocrisy. But here's what everyone misses. They don't see themselves as hypocrites. They need more resources because they're more important than us. They can't spend all day at an airport waiting in security lines and dragging bags and dealing with flight delays. They're so busy saving the world, they have to be exempt from the rules. And most of them do, and that's too bad. The Founding Fathers gave the press special protections to watch politicians. Instead, the press gives special protections to the politicians so they can watch us. That's dangerous because the United States has a dark history of false flag operations. Remember Operation Gladio?
Link right down in your honeypot.
The CIA and Mafia teamed up and armed Italian terrorists to kill civilians and blame the communists. Or Operation Northwoods in 1962. The Defense Department planned to attack Americans and blame Cuban terrorists. Then they'd invade Cuba, and thank goodness JFK said no. He stopped trusting the military intelligence state after the Bay of Pigs.
Hey, and how'd that work out for him?
Not well. JFK didn't want war, so he was replaced by a president who did, Lyndon Johnson, who presided over the Gulf of Tonkin incident, a false flag operation where the U.S. Navy claimed it was under attack by North Vietnam. Now, this is still controversial to say, but I don't care. It's the truth. The U.S. government lied to drag us into the senseless Vietnam War.
What I want is somebody that can lay up some plans to trap these guys and whoop hell out of them. Kill some of them. That's what I want to do.
I'll try and bring something back. We'll meet that objective.
One telegram, which we later found from Commander Herrick of the Maddox, had been made available to the committee. At that time, I'm quite sure they would have had long hearings, gone into it thoroughly, and if they'd been able to discover the facts as they actually were, I don't believe it passed resolution because it was based upon absolutely false, erroneous information.
50,000 Americans dead, 300,000 wounded for what? To enrich weapons manufacturers and chemical companies? Really? But that's the theme of this episode. To achieve their goals, whatever they are, the power structure has to deceive us. Okay, back to the UFOs, the whistleblowers. I take a lot of heat for openly saying I don't trust them. Everything they say is approved by the Pentagon. That doesn't mean what they say is true. It means the Pentagon wanted them to say it. That's a great opportunity for deception. David Grush heard from a guy who knew a guy who worked with another guy who said he saw UFO wreckage. What?
Dave then went to the Defense Office of Pre-Publication Security Review, the DOPSA office inside the Pentagon, and he asked for permission to talk about what he knows, or what he says he knows. And they've given him permission to talk about crash retrievals.
Did we learn anything from any of that? Luis Elizondo was in charge of ATIP, but the Pentagon said he wasn't. Then he said they're smearing him. Then they said, well, he worked as a contractor, but not ATIP, and on and on and on. Which side is telling the truth? We don't know, but one side is using deception. Elizondo said he resigned because he was frustrated with the government's lack of transparency about UFOs. Great. That's what we need, that kind of bravery. Okay, tell us what's going on. What'd you see? What do we have? Well, he said, well, I have to be careful about what I say.
So they made it very clear to me that I have to be very careful not to talk about something that I'm not allowed to talk about.
Oh, but there are more details in my book. Of 2014, astronauts Steve Swanson and Reed Weissman on the ISS. This is a good one. You can tell this is the ISS from the windows. Here's how they did it. Grab an image from the ISS and pull it into After Effects or some kind of video editor. Mask out the window. Throw some orange behind it. Crank up the contrast. Dirty up the windows. Make everything just a bit blurry. I know my version isn't perfect, but I did that in about 8 minutes. And if you look at the hoaxed video, you can see they were just as sloppy with the mask as I was. The edges aren't round. That's someone who doesn't know their way around a Bezier tool.
Bezier what now?
Bezier, it's the tool that lets you draw curves.
Then call it a curve drawing tool. Bezier sounds elitist.
It's French.
Exactly.
These shots are nice too. They're from the European Space Agency. We've got the Yanni Chaos region, the Corrales Chaos. How about this? This is Cassavalis and Sacrifosse.
I'm just as shocked.
Casse is the Japanese word for Mars. It literally means fire star. Valles is Latin for valleys. And sacra means sacred or holy. Fosse is plural for the word fossa in Latin, which means ditch. Hours of searching Apollo footage and images from every space program and Mars mission. Going back for Jackie from NASA, I couldn't confirm anything about her story. She didn't sound like a scientist to me, but who knows, she might be telling the truth. William Rutledge is considered debunked. There's no record of him being an astronaut, and it's not like there are that many. He says that he found proof of a secret space program, and I believe him.
It was an Excel spreadsheet, and there was a non-terrestrial officers list, and I can't remember the file name of the spreadsheet, but the heading on the column was non-terrestrial officers. Well, obviously it wasn't aliens, it wasn't, little green men. I took it to just think it must be evidence of an off-Earth fleet. You know, if you have non-terrestrial officers, you must have spaceships that are based in, maybe geostationary orbits, who knows?
Now, I don't know if there really is a secret space program, but I believe Gary found something. And whatever he found was so sensitive that President Obama, the DOD, and the DOJ tried to have him extradited to the US. They wanted to put him in prison for 70 years.
For accessing computers with no password? How was this on him?
The charges filed against Gary say that he wasn't authorized to access those systems. The charges fail to mention that NASA and the DOD were sloppy with their network security. That's one of the reasons why the UK didn't allow the extradition.
He will not be going to the United States anytime soon.
Here, here, God save the Queen, pip pip.
Yeah, that was a pretty big deal. The United States isn't used to hearing no.
And I trust that this will get resolved in a way that underscores the seriousness of the issue,
The coalition came into power. They blocked the extradition.
but also underscores the fact that we work together and we can find an appropriate solution.
He will not be going to the United States anytime soon.
Now, what doesn't help the story is that movie I showed you before, Alternative 3, that aired in 1977 as a mockumentary about a secret space program to Mars by Apollo astronauts in coordination with the Soviets.
We obtained an acceptable picture, which you're now about to see as we saw it.
I'm just as shocked as...
And when it aired, people thought it was real.
For real.
And Project Red Sun seems to follow along with that plot almost exactly. So some of the evidence of Project Red Sun can be dismissed, but not all of it. And Borlo have coordinates that overlap with rover landing sites. Now, if I were a conspiracy theorist...
Truth seeker.
Right. If I were one of those, I would be suspicious. It's almost as if NASA is carefully managing the flow of information and expectations about Mars exploration. Now, I don't think it's a coincidence that this is happening at the same time that space exploration is becoming privatized.
And if you warm Mars up, you will, there's a bunch of frozen CO2 that will evaporate, densify the atmosphere, and
Get your ass to Mars.
you'd actually want kind of global warming on Mars.
As companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin head toward Mars, they'll operate with less public oversight than government agencies. But if Elon Musk lands on Mars, he's going to tell us what he finds. The US government doesn't want Elon exposing them for lying to the public. Right. So while SpaceX prepares to go to Mars, NASA can slowly release more and more information, so that by the time SpaceX gets there, there are no more surprises. And NASA's probably okay with this. Elon thinks he'll be making history by landing human beings on Mars, but it may very well turn out that all he did was create the perfect cover for a classified space program that truly never ended.
It's crazy. I'm just as shocked as you are. For real. I'm just as shocked, guys. What's even crazy is, hold on, what's even more crazy is that the elites, the shadow government, whatever you want to call them, Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, if they do exist, if not, whatever, it's crazy how the truth is coming out. Because honestly, I didn't know any of this. But it's caught my attention. Especially when I spoke to my neighbor. It's caught my attention. It's mind-blowing, honestly. I'm just lost for words. Make sure y'all follow. Make sure y'all subscribe to Laugh House Production. This is Jay, Laugh House Production. Become a family. Become a member, guys. Let's start building together.